second. All right. We are live.
Hey.
Wait for everyone to come in here. I think we got a few people I saw waiting. Oh, where's my... Oh.
Well, I've tweeted this out, so we're probably going to lose viewers as a result.
No way. I think there's a lot of people. I had mentioned this a couple of streams back about talking about having our special guest today, if you've just arrived, PapahBoehner on here. Papa B is going to go over with all things crypto security today, and we're going to get learnt and know how not to get wrecked, keep our money, and not let people that shouldn't have our money have our money. So we'll wait for some people to get in here. Papa, thank you so much for being on the stream. This is
my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. I heard that there were sandwiches being served, and I haven't found them yet, but I imagine you're gonna press a button and I'll get fed.
They're on a FedEx flight to you right now, and it was with the crust on or off. I couldn't remember.
No, leave them. You know, I was in India once, and we were served crust off, hand-made sandwiches, and I still didn't get the runs. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah.
This
guy came in the room. He's like, shaky plate, you know. He's like, here you go. I'm like, business is really good in this country. I'm gonna thank you. And no problem at all. It was beautiful.
So this is the crust.
It was. he hand cut them off. You know.
It was all. I'll just need was some love. That's all you needed on that sandwich.
Yep. Delicious. Some
Amazing.
brown substance inside that I couldn't make out, but to seal the deal, man, you will eat that crustless sandwich. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's welcome some guests, some of the viewers in here. We got the Harmonic Hexagon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're having a great evening. We got Pulse Bezos in here, probably related to Jeff.
Nice.
Second in here. We got Crypto Chris. What's up? We got Joey Torres. Academatiated. I can finally pronounce this guy's name. Oh, yeah. I'm excited for this one too, Academatiated. This is going to be awesome. We got Arnold Bach in here. Howdy, sir. Howdy. Hope you're having a great evening. Bufo's in here. We got Gary G. We got lots of people tuning in already. We got 37 people in here. Guys, on the way in, please smash that like button. The more people see this video, the better everyone's going to be. This is an important one, especially if you haven't already taken steps towards building your crypto security. This is going to be a very, very good episode. Let's see.
With a build-up like that, it better at least be good.
It better, yeah, it's at a minimum, exactly. We got big shoes to fill here. Let's just see. We got YB Wash here. Everyone, welcome. Smash the thumbs up.
Hello. Mr. Morton Superlight. Sweet, man. Good day to you, sir.
We got a fellow Canadian in here. Thank you, Crypto Freedom, for checking this out. 35 people in here. Nice. We got Kevin Lubinsky. Hello. Yeah, Will Smith that like button. But like the whole hand, not just your fingers. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Well, we got 40 people in here. You know what? Let's start getting a little warmed up here. Let's start talking. So, Papa, what led you to where you are today? Let's start with your background. Like, what is your background in like security or just your knowledge base in general? And how did that lead to crypto and then to where we are today?
Sure. I'm going to break this down as quickly as I can because your viewers will start fleeing if I tread on and tell you my long sordid story. So I was in Japan around, mid 90s and wasn't making much money. I was living hand to mouth over here trying to make it. Came over here in university time and was sticking around being a theatrical director at the time.
Oh, okay.
And there's no money in it. And my friends were calling me in the States. They're saying, hey, you know what? We're all in Silicon Valley. We're making tons of green and we're doing like living the life. It's a big bubble economy. It's so much fun. Why don't you come back if you ever get bored? So I did. I came back, and within about 3 days, I was sitting in a cubicle in a startup of a firewall company. And I had no background. I mean, I was like paying for packets to be passed left and right here in Tokyo back then. I had no idea what, gigabit speed firewalls were all about. So I learned there on a hardware sales role. And I was going from enterprise to enterprise in Silicon Valley saying, "Hello, sir, would you like to buy our firewalls?" And of course, I was battling with C-suite guys that were saying, "What's the ROI on security?" And I would have to debate with them and say, "What's the ROI on a cyber attack? What about a data breach? What about all your shit being, landlocked for weeks and weeks and you can't move product?" And then that was like the constant pushback back then. It's like, firewall? The deuce you say? Why must I have a dedicated appliance doing this firewall thing? So slowly that turned into the next iteration, which was intrusion detection devices, and then intrusion prevention devices, and then it was security services, monitoring all these crazy logs from all the hardware that I was selling. So that evolved into, company after company, startup after startup, until I found myself running all of Asia Pacific for cybersecurity companies,
Wow.
one after another. And there aren't many, white guys over here that, back then anyway, that spoke fluent Japanese. So I was kind of their guy, and they forced me to come back, even though I was like, "No, I like being over here. We got like drink machines and like there's beer bashes and you got like a game room and it's so much fun." No, now I'm working back in my apartment, little shoebox apartment in Tokyo. That cascaded into interesting things. We had an earthquake over here, by the way, in 2011. That was a serious problem. And by then I was married with kids. So we fled to go to Hawaii for a while, because earthquakes and radiation. And then it was then that I kind of was taking a bit of a hiatus from security. Mm-hmm. And a buddy of mine said, "Hey, you know what? Now I'm a CEO of a startup that's we do lawful intercept type of stuff." And I said, "What the hell's lawful intercept?" He says, "Don't worry, we work for governments and we make sure that the bad guys can't communicate in code. So we help, all these governments to do the good job, which is to fight terrorism." And I said, "Well, that sounds like it's a noble type of thing. Let's do this." He says, "Well, you got to get, certified, and you're going to have actual government top secret clearance." And I said, "Wow, this sounds really exciting, right?" It's like, "Yeah, well, you got to take this test, and you've got to do background checks and all sorts of other stuff. And if you've ever, bought a bag of dope in San Diego in 1980s, well, you better come clean about it." I'm like, okay. So you're writing all this stuff and you're being vetted by the government. I'm really excited. And then I find myself on the other side of the desk with all these guys that are very non-technical, and they're very legally minded, and they're trying to limit the liability of their government agency, and they want to know how they can get these streams and backdoors and be able to decrypt this form of communication, be able to see what the people of interest, right? These people of interest are logging on to YouTube channels. How much of the video are they watching? Let's ring fence them and geolocate exactly where they go and what they eat and where they shit and all these other amazing things. All this data coming in. And then this guy named Snowden pops the cork off of the whole deal that I'm selling. He's like, "Hey, this is bad news. They're collecting all this stuff without going through due process of law." Now, I knew back in the back room that, of course, there was due process of law. The law officials had to actually go and get subpoenas. The problem was, as soon as Snowden blew the whistle, I looked deeper into it, and I actually found out that a lot of these judges that issue the subpoenas are actually automated servers. That law enforcement simply shoots over a request with all their background required data that they have to populate, and then the server kicks out a lawful, warrant to collect all of their data and traffic.
Wow.
And I kind of said, wow, this is probably not good anymore. And it was only fitting that my boss said, you know what, we're shutting down all of the rest of world effort. And we're coming back to the United States because now that Snowden blew the whistle, all of our non-US centric deals have gone to shit. So I said, okay, well, but I just closed 4 different countries over here, major countries, governments at huge orders. How am I going to support them? They said, you know what, you're fired. Okay, just you're laid off. We'll just call it that. Okay, and I said, fine, I'll just go back into this kind of pseudo retirement. Well, I get a call 10 days later by another friend of mine who says, hey, do you want to be on the other side of the table and work for the general masses to protect their security and anonymity and privacy? And I'm like, how so? He says, we're working on, secure communications, and we're going to be blocking all of these things that you were selling before. And I said, sounds great. Let's do it. Because I'm not bound by any,
Totally.
not bound by any NDAs or anything like that. So I got into bed, and that's when I started rubbing shoulders with cryptographers and people that came out of the whole cypherpunk movement. And I started hearing about, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin back then. And I still wasn't investing in it. Of course, I was too stupid to move on it. But that led me to thinking about privacy and security. And you were mentioning in our green room chat that people think that their phone is a great place to keep their digital assets, and we can go into why that's not the case. But
absolutely,
that led me to where we are today, which actually my last iteration was OT, operational technology security, which is manufacturing, because that was the final frontier of the attackers, was to run turbines backwards or melt down data centers. So I was doing that as well. So that's my whole story that brought us to today. And Richard Hart products were just something that came up for me, and following him from 2017 and hearing him barking about Bitcoin and seeing his whole evolution, his change of thought, a change of worldview, coming into his own in the Ethereum spotlight, and finally that long slog of waiting for him to come out with Hex, and now yet another long slog while he meticulously comes out with a PulseChain.
That's amazing. Wow. So you have, it's cool to hear how deep of a background you have in this, so how much you really understand the importance of security and taking care of all of this that we're about to talk about today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to pick your brain. So guys, before we get started though, because you're not going to want to miss this. If you haven't already gotten the vibe from what the depth of knowledge that PapahBoehner has, you're going to want to smash that like button, smash the subscribe, and pay attention. Get your notebook out, get a pen out. Make sure you're taking in every word, so that way what he says doesn't go in one ear and out the other. This is really, really important information.
Or if you're my age, dip that quill in that ink pot and prepare to inscribe your scroll.
Or that too. I love it. All right, okay. So I want to just talk quickly on a first point here. And Monica, I saw your question. I've written it down. We're going to get to the stuff about maybe VPNs a little later if we have some time, as well as your other question. But if I'm not paying attention to chat, guys, it's because we're answering questions here, and we're going to just go with the flow and keep getting to as deep as we can with these questions. So first question I've got for you, Papa, is, like you were alluding to, when it comes to mobile phone wallets, why should or shouldn't anyone have their wallet on their phone? What are the risks? What does anyone have to worry about? It's a phone, right? It's a piece of modern technology. Mm-hmm. What's the risk?
The risks are many, and we'll get into those. But let me answer that question with the first question back to you.
Right.
Why would you need to carry hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, in a highly appreciating asset, one that you believe will get there in under 2 years' time, let's say, or for us that are Hexicans, that has actually gone there in 2 years' time? Can you answer to me why the hell you would need to do this?
Yep, you wouldn't.
Okay.
You'd go a whole other route, of course.
Right.
If you knew.
Right. So either A, you don't believe in the future of the asset, or B, you got in with like $5 and said, someday this seed will grow into a beautiful big, huge tree. I think that it's unwise to use your phone for any crypto stuff at all. There's no reason for you. It's only liabilities, right? What the upside is, you can feel big because you've got your bank in your pocket. Mm-hmm. And if suddenly you've got to flee your house on fire, somehow that's going to give you some solace that you can take everything out that you own just in your pocket, and it's always in your pants anyway.
Right.
No. So what are the risks, right? So we've dealt with the upside, right? Oh, I feel great and I can show my friends. I can do onboarding maybe. But most importantly, I can look at Staker app and I can see always how much my stuff is growing by leaps and bounds for Richard Hart products and projects. That's a passive type of method that you can deal with on your phone anyway. You don't have to actually have the cryptographic keys, the seeds, live and well on your phone. By the way, your phone does not, this is just the basics. Mm-hmm. Your phone does not allow you to combine MetaMask with a hardware wallet, which is a good way of doing security. It only allows you to have a hardware wallet separately or the actual MetaMask instance separately. And MetaMask contains your seeds in a locally based or locally stored seed store file, which is encrypted, but it is decrypted by entering in what? What do you think?
Your seed phrase.
No. Your password to get into MetaMask.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry.
So all the attacker needs to do is find your seed store file, which is, by the way, named the same for you and everyone else that installs the MetaMask instance.
Right.
Same damn, you know where to find it. You have an exploit that costs about $160 on the dark web to send out to everybody. Actually, I think it's $140 on the dark web. Sends out to everybody, harvests your password, and grabs the seed store file, and then makes its escape and covers its tracks. So what you have is a vulnerability that's in a liability and a vulnerability that's on your phone, all for convenience. Mm-hmm. And convenience and security are bad bedfellows. One of them is tipped always in one direction. You know how intelligent you are and how much you're, paying respect to this game by whether or not you're tilted in security just a hair at all times.
Right.
So convenience should be the second thing in your mind, not the first. So again, the width and breadth of the attack vectors when it comes to mobile security are many. And the biggest exploits that we detect, the people that cry the loudest when they give me their DMs at an average of 3 per day now, are the ones that walk through, a public space like an airport or a lobby in a hotel, which is another bad place to be having your Wi-Fi on your phone. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they either have data captured or they get SIM swapped. That means somebody goes into your local, carrier and says, "My name is Mr. U, and I need another SIM card because I lost it. Can you just go ahead and put it in my phone, please? Thank you very much." And back in the day, they didn't actually vet people that well, right? You could get a minimum wage worker that says, "Yes, mister, can I see a form of identification?" "Oh, sure, here's my, whatever. But how about we settle this right here for a couple grand?" "Oh, yes, sir, I'll take care of that right away, sir." Mm-hmm, and then the SIM card is delivered, and next thing you know, you get a flicker on your screen. Why can't my phone work? And then all your crypto's gone. And all the rest of your stuff on your phone is gone.
Right.
All your banking logins, all your emails are now compromised. Everything is going to that attacker's handset that they own now.
Right. One thing you said earlier, too, I want to just touch on quickly, because you talked about going into like a hotel room or a hotel or anywhere that have like a public Wi-Fi. Just for the viewers, can we go into like exactly how that's like, how is that possible? Like what is the not so much the likelihood of that happening, but like how does that happen in general? And how could that happen to someone?
Right. Okay. So people would debate with me. And by the way, let me set this straight. What I profess is security 101. There are very, very skilled people in our community that have incredible, technological knowledge about exactly the ins and outs of how this works. But I'll break it down to you in just broad brushstrokes and color by numbers type of style, so that kind of it percolates. Also, it's open for debate, some of this stuff. But even if I'm a crackpot lunatic, even if I'm way off base, let's err on the side of caution, shall we? And let's say, as long as he solves the problem that he's making up easily, maybe we should do that just to be 100% sure. If it's not too inconvenient, not too difficult, let's just follow what PapahBoehner says, just for the sake of argument. Let's patronize this old fart and just try to do things the right way. Because we know one thing: he may be an idiot, but he hasn't cost anybody any money yet. So let's just imagine that, okay?
Yep.
How does it happen? Well, the easiest way it happens, problems in Starbucks or hotel lobbies, especially hotel lobbies or hotel rooms. It's so very easy in hotel rooms and hotel lobbies. Attackers have nothing but time. In air-conditioned, cool environment, they've got the ability to set up a pineapple in a hotel lobby in a backpack sitting by their beautiful luxurious chair while they fart around on their own handset looking for would-be phones that are looking for access points, because that's what your phone does. It's a very chatty protocol. Always it's on, saying, hey, are you there, are you there, are you there, are you there? And the cell tower or the local Wi-Fi says, yes, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Mm-hmm. So if your phone is programmed to receive, so to speak, it will connect up with anything that it says is a free Wi-Fi or actually allows it to get in unencrypted. Right. First and foremost. Right. So an attacker can form what they call a man-in-the-middle attack by putting together an SSID-based, a product in their backpack that mimics the hotel Wi-Fi. All they have to do is name it airport-free Wi-Fi or hotel shenanigans free Wi-Fi. And you're sitting in line, you're tired, you're jet lagged, you're like sweaty, your wife's complaining that she didn't get upgraded to the beautiful suite that you wanted to get there, and your kids are screaming that they want to go to Disneyland early, and you're like, fuck it, and you put on the Wi-Fi, and you're like, yes. Oh, by the way, you need a credit card? Great. Okay, great. Excellent. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm just fixing my Wi-Fi. And you hook up with that nefarious SSID. Now, this person is collecting all your damn traffic, backwards and forwards, collecting enough time, and they can actually weasel themselves into, providing a nefarious website or something that you would want to click on. Let's say that they have prepared, because it's a hotel, and again, they have all the time to prepare. They have a hotel front page for Wi-Fi hookups, right? That says always there's a way outdated and shitty Wi-Fi sign-up page for your hotel room. Just add in your hotel number and your last name. Click, 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 and you believe that you're connecting up with the hotel Wi-Fi, but you're not. You're connecting up with the bad guy in the lobby, or the bad guy who's rented out one room for the night on your floor. Mm-hmm. Happened in Korea actually about 5 years ago. There was a cybersecurity conference, and bad guys from North Korea infiltrated the hotel and put one person on each floor to run a pineapple and took everybody's packets. They're just like taking all the streams from all these cyber defense people, and they all got hacked at the same time.
Wow.
So again, they didn't listen to the first rule that they should have been professing, and that is, don't hook up in hotels, don't hook up on public Wi-Fi's, and if you do go to a hotel, I recommend that you get a travel SIM hotspot that has your actual SIM to it, or otherwise tether to your phone and get out to the cell tower yourself. Do not deal with hotels. Why am I pointing down? Hotels are not here, but hotels are there, out there.
Well, it's interesting though. It's a really good point, because we've seen that kind of thing where, what you're saying about the old hotel website or something along those lines, right? We've seen just how realistic and how close people can make websites. It's like for Hex or for PulseX or for PulseChain, and it looks so real, but yet it is completely a scam, and you get wrecked. So, like, how do people protect themselves from, like, just to segue to these online sites? Like, what's the best way for people to know exactly what they're getting and how to not click on those links and how to prevent them from themselves ever getting in that situation?
Several data points. Do not take one single data point and go for it. Mm-hmm. Double check. So we have the luxury of having Richard Hart's tweets. Richard Hart, is on Livestream. He may verbally say it as well. You've got the text chat for Telegram, and then you've got the voice chat for Telegram. The least secure would be the text chat for Telegram, where it's rife with nefarious actors in there looking like admins, and they always, all you have to do is come into the chat and say, I'm a babe in the woods and I need to know about security. I'm a little bit confused. The next thing you know, you get like 5 direct messages saying, hello, I'm the admin. I'm the PapahBoehner to help you. And then you say, oh, I've seen you on stream and I've heard you on voice chat. Hi, Papa, how you doing? By the way, do you have hair or are you bald? Yes, I'm here to help you. Please help. Give me your seeds. Okay, here you are. I trust you. Mm-hmm. And then you're hosed. So please don't fall for that stupidity. Second of all, don't click links, no matter where they come from. Even from Richard, I double check them. I'd probably even type them in myself to make sure that everything is typed in properly. Mm-hmm. Nothing's redirected. There's no little dots or dashes, nothing in different colors, so you can just not see it for that one moment when you click and you go forward to that site. Please, 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 double check many data points. That's the rule.
I love it. Yeah, make sure, guys, that if I'm saying this right, so type everything in manually or make sure you're 100% vetting exactly the source and using multiple data points to make sure the site you're going to is correct. And the second thing that I want to touch on again is what we started talking about with seed phrases. And
yes.
So when it comes to seed phrases, giving them out obviously sounds like a no-no, and should be painfully obvious that's for you, but how do we store them? How do we make sure they're in a place, and who can we tell? Is there any strategies that we should have around seed phrases and how we should utilize that? Like in the case of someone else has to access them for you, like all these things balancing and taking into consideration, how should we treat our seed phrases?
Okay. So let's roll back. You are your own bank. What does that mean, right? If you were to walk into a bank and you were to go up to the teller and you were to say, hi, I'd like to make a deposit or withdrawal. And the teller says, huh? I think I remember how to do that. It's my lunch break. I'm not really supposed to be here, but, and you look over his shoulder and you notice that there's like daylight coming in from behind the vault. And you're like, why is there daylight coming in from the vault? Oh, that's Joe. He's going and having a smoke. He usually leaves the door open a little bit while he's doing that. So it's just kind of the way he does things. How confident would you feel in doing banking in that type of context?
Oh, new bank tomorrow or today.
Right. There you go. Right away. Exactly. Say, I'm out of here. I mean, it's not that I'm old-fashioned. It's that I have the common sense that this should be a very secure type of operation, and this ain't it. Mm-hmm. So when you put that responsibility back in your own hands, you say, how would I build a bank given the most important tool to protect, which is my seed phrase, which effectively is my private key to my wallet, which is really a keychain that allows me to access and claim tokens on blockchain. That's all it is. That's all there is in all this mess, in anything that you have to secure. That's the only thing you have to understand, is that your seeds, your private key, allows you the key to the vault, and your stuff is in the vault. So what do we protect? The seed phrase. And how do we do it? Do we put it on a web extension that created it, that only is 12 words long and has a seed store that's saved locally on my machine, that maybe also gets backed up to the cloud every once in a while, that's hosted by, I don't know, a major corporation that I can't really get to or sue in case my data gets breached up in the cloud. They may just give me like 10 Disney dollars to make up for the breach because the class action lawsuit told them that they had to, but your crypto will be gone. So you get $10 coupon for Disneyland versus all of your crypto being yours. Which one would you like?
Probably the cloud, right? Obviously the cloud.
It's good that you mentioned that. I don't know. I was thinking Disney dollars too, but no, it is
actually.
Yeah, exactly. So you do want your crypto. So in that sense, how do we do things right? We get ourselves a hardware wallet, and this hardware wallet is not really a wallet. There's no coins that are in it that fall out if you tip it over. This thing is just a key fob that generates and successfully and carefully and securely stores those 24 words that get you your tokens. For years and years and years, the rest of your life, you're going to be attached to that seed one way or another. If you do a staking ladder, like in Hex, or if you do delegations, if you lock things up, you're going to be married to that seed for the duration of that stake. So 15 years. If you got like 100 stakes you've artfully made and you put those on MetaMask, was that a wise thing, or was it wise to start things right and get yourself a Trezor or a Ledger device and begin with a 24-word seed phrase, and when you pop this out of your PC, no one can actually transact? Sounds like a good and how much are we investing to do that? How much do we have to invest to do that? $70 out the door. That's it. So $70 of security to protect hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, effectively, and based on today's technology, probably the best way possible. That's the way that you protect your seeds. Now, that's in the case of the wallet. The next part of the equation is to back them up in the real world. Now it gets a little bit more complex because these little wallets will fail. They're made out of plastic and a little chipset, also made out of silicon, and a little chipset that can get oxidized. We expect them to fail after, 5 to 7 years worth of use. But we don't have to worry because if the seeds are intact, then you can always reintroduce the seeds via a, recovery method back into a fresh wallet.
Right.
So really the backups become the most important thing because those are timeless. Those have to survive real world exploits like theft or flood or fire. So, or you getting hit on the head or having Alzheimer's and forgetting how to manage them properly.
Yep.
So for that, I recommend that people do one of two things. And both of these are DIY methods. One is to find a source of commercially pure titanium. They come in small scrap plates, and you can get them from a metal shop or metal dealer in your area. Maybe welding supply or something may be able to turn you on to how you can get this stuff. Commercially pure titanium has an interesting quality. It's not an alloy. It's a pure titanium because if you etch into an alloy, you may suffer the memory that an alloy has. An alloy can actually kind of it separates the alloyed material from the titanium over years of time, and it fills in the grooves. So you may be like, oh, thank God I've got my stuff all scraped into nice titanium. You go and you get it out of your vault, out of your, your fire safe. You go to get it. You need your words. You turn it open, and it's absolutely smooth, and you're hosed. So commercially pure, it's CPTI, commercially pure titanium, and it comes in 4 grades, 1 through 4. But you have to make sure it's got the designation CP. And you just simply etch into it with a Dremel with a diamond head tip bit. You just kind of etch into it like you're writing on paper, very easy. And then you throw that into your fire safe. Or you sandwich a whole bunch of them together, drill a hole out through 2 sides of it, put a bolt through 2 of those things. You decrease the surface area and increase the mass. So in case of fire, which is already titanium is like the best thing you can get in terms of metals that aren't radioactive. Right. You put that together and you increase the mass and decrease the surface area. A fire won't even put a dent in it. You put everything kind of sandwiched together so the etched part is face to face, and you just sandwich them together. The other way to do things which is even cheaper and easier to do. And there's lots of videos on YouTube where you can see this being done, is to go get a whole bunch of stainless steel fender washers at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. Maybe in Canada you guys have something else. Maybe it's Lowe's, or you know,
there's definitely in there.
Or it's syrup Home Depot or something.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup Home Depot. Yeah. Yep. And then they shoot it out to you with a hockey stick. Yep. But anyway, the thing is, you get a bag of these fender washers. Fender washers are these, you know, regular plumbing washers, the little donuts made of metal. Flat donuts, of course. But anyway, the point is that fender washers have more surface area around the ring. Smaller hole in the middle, right? So you get a bag of those, and then you get yourself some letter punches, which are these little, you know, sticks of metal, of annealed steel or stainless steel, and they have little letters on the end, and the stick you then hammer in and you make an indentation into each of the fender washers. All you have to do is create a number for each one of the backup words and the first 4 letters, because those are the only unique points for every word that's on the BIP39 compliant seed list.
Right.
Only the first 4 letters, because your hardware wallet is going to guess the word after you enter in the first 3 letters, and the 4th letter will clinch it. So that's all you need to do.
That's amazing. I think it's really important, guys, to really understand the original premise for what Papa was just saying there. And things happen in life. You can never be prepared for a fire or a flood or a random life event to just wipe out something that is on a piece of paper. And especially because so much of us that are in this space are in it to change our lives and people around us lives with as much money as we can make. That money that could change your life, if that goes away, it's gone. If you don't have the seed phrase anymore, if you wipe that off the face of the earth, you've wiped out your entire life savings or the money that you could have used to change your life and the other people around you's lives. So I know this is something I need to do as well. And you have a point there. If you have something to say, go ahead.
Yeah, there's one more thing. So we've dealt with the disaster prevention from a elements and acts of God type of point of view, right? You put it on titanium, you put it on these fender washers. However, you also want to make it disaster recover. If you want to make it disaster recoverable, and you mentioned something about survivorship too, right? And passing it on to loved ones.
Yep.
And finally, you also want to make it very difficult or obfuscate it, right? You want to obscure it from the attacker's eye should they get your real spool of seeds. So how do we accomplish all that? Incorporate in this entire mix that we just outlined a tiny little pinch of your own simple cipher. What does that mean? Don't put them in the right order, right? And if you're going to start to get creative in doing this, you also have to document this. You have to document the way that you encrypt it yourself. Which means don't trust your memory when you say, oh, for this seed, I went on the BIP39 compliant list and I just phased all of the right-hand column, the first half of the seed. I took those words by numbers and I just moved them 7 up. And then in the second column, I moved them all 6 down on the list. So now I've created a simple cipher that's easy to remember for me in the now. But years from now, if I didn't make that and write that down in some, again, simple ciphered method to get that little recipe written down, perhaps I will forget. And that leads me to another point, which is never trust a brain wallet. Never commit anything to memory at all. And I don't care if it's only one word at the end of your seed, or if it's the last 3 words, or you think you're really crafty, you're going to create a poem and you're going to commit that to memory. And on the flight from Seattle to Denver, you remembered it all. And it's so simple and you're always going to remember it. It's always oh, wait, I just can't remember those last 3 words. How many times have people contacted me and said, Papa, I thought I was being really cool and I had the last 3 words. Remember, I just can't even remember them anymore. And I say, well, get that BIP39 compliant word list out with 2,000 plus words, and you go ahead and you try to fucking remember, because there ain't no way to recall these. No one's going to help you out. And if they don't occur to you which ones they were and in which order, well, it's time to go get somebody to put you under, some kind of spell or, or hypnosis. Yep. And try to remember them that way through power of suggestion. And you have to make sure that that guy or girl that is doing that to you is not also saying, oh, very nice. Tell me about your mother. Oh, I'll just write these down.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah. Oh man, that's so much to think about. It's crazy. You get like this, even if in the worst case scenario, you still have to have someone you trust who can pull that out of you. It's
yes. Oh, and survivorship. That's right. That was the other thing, right? How do we successfully and securely pass this on to our loved ones? How do we prepare? Because that's a responsibility that all of us with kids have to have. I mean, didn't you hear the story, like, is it 6 months or 9 months ago? One of these Bitcoin moguls went off in like Laguna Beach or Malibu or whatever for his morning swim and just didn't come back. Just, sharks got him or whatever. And his loved ones, his wife, his loved ones that he didn't have a problem with. I mean, he didn't hate his family, he just went out for a swim and didn't come back. Mm-hmm. Well, they can't find his seeds. And now they ain't got nothing. Mm-hmm. And all that beautiful wealth is just locked up on blockchain. And that does nobody no good. So how do we prepare for such things, right? Number one, if you can, pick somebody in your family that you love and you trust. And that could be your wife, that could be your son or daughter. They're going to be the ones that pick up the mantle if you're no longer with us. And they're going to be able to roll with it and complete their staking ladder or maintain the staking ladder and know how to actually responsibly ladder out and not hurt the community and not hurt themselves and get the best bang for the buck when the time comes. Mm-hmm. So they have to know more about what you do and why you do. Effectively, you're inbound in-house onboarding. So you take your wife and you get her own Trezor or Ledger device. Your kids should have their own Ledger or Trezor devices. They should know that on their birthdays or on Christmas time, they get a little bit of Hex or a little bit of Pulse, and they know how to make it work for themselves. It's a great gift to give them, right? And according to the IRS, you're allowed a certain threat. Sorry, you're in Canada, so whatever the Canada version of the IRS is, the Internal Revenue Service. CRA, do you say?
Yeah, Canada Revenue Agency.
Okay, so CRA or IRS or whatever jurisdiction you're in will allow you some certain threshold you can give to your loved ones as gifts tax-free. I would max that out every year if you can, and make sure that your kids and your wife feel that not only responsibility for what they have and the magnitude of what it will be that you leave them, but also the familiarity on how to manage the assets effectively. You have to do that. Barring that, you also give them possibly, and two things to avoid, I believe. One is safety deposit boxes. Do not subscribe to a safe deposit box and mix that with your crypto backups, please. Because the minute that you're not with us anymore, if you're the only actual signatory on that box, it may go into probate and access to that may be limited. Access is already shifty at best when you say, I know I'm going to become my own bank, and the first thing I'm going to do with my keys is trust a bank. No, please don't do that either.
Just the thought kills me.
The thought is funny. I mean, look, when confiscation becomes a thing, or back when gold was outlawed to be owned by private citizens, the banks were given orders to watch anybody who tries to get into safe deposit boxes to get into their dirty lucre. And one gentleman, only one, was captured by the FBI. Because he was stupid enough to keep all of his gold in a safe deposit box and went in to go get some. And when he went into that beautiful, oak room to go and play with his goodies, he came out and there was the FBI saying, "Come with us, Internal Revenue." So you don't want to do that. So that's number one. Number two is the whole probate thing, right? You don't want I'm going to trust this with an attorney. So if you do that, first of all, understand I've got friends that are attorneys. You don't want to see them when they're drunk, right? You don't want to hear their stories about how they're normal people. And you always think it's going to be like this Agatha Christie movie where the attorney comes out during the last will and testament reading, and he's got the monocle, and he says, Mr. Jenkins died, and now I will read his last will and testament. I am bound to be the dude that you trust. Everybody knows that I'm an upstanding person, and I will give all of you your stacks of of money and deeds to ranches and whatever businesses, and you'll all be fine, and I'll get nothing for my time other than a humble retainer, prepaid by the deceased, of course, and I am beyond reproach so trustworthy. Bullshit. These people are fallible. How many times have you heard that rock stars and all sorts of other people have been taken to the cleaners because their accountants or their attorneys have taken them for a ride, and they can't be more well, not more times than not, but it does happen. We got to play the odds, right?
Yeah.
Just like Richard says, never send like $1 billion transaction, because it actually makes more sense for the miners to roll back the chain and like steal your shit and put it back on. Yeah, same thing with attorneys. When the money's there on the table, things can happen. So I wouldn't trust attorneys, and you don't have to, because again, if you're your own bank, you can also be your own probate. And the way you do that is Shamir secret sharing is a method by which you split up your seeds and retain the integrity of the cryptography. And then you can provide access to loved ones each individually. If they collect 2 of the locations of the 2 plates that have 2/3 each of the actual seeds, and enter them into a hardware wallet. That's one. You can leave, a pirate treasure map. I don't care. You give them instructions on where to find it, and you have a book or something else that, again, is probably a video attached to it or something in a hosted site or whatever that says, in the case of my death, play this frickin' video. Click. Mm-hmm. Hi, how you doing? You're dead. I'm dead. Here's what we do. Collect these pieces, and away you go. And you withhold one portion of it, and that would be the passphrase. So they may get the seeds, but if you have a hidden wallet, and now we're getting into hidden wallets, you may create a 25th word yourself. Yeah, right? See?
Yeah, perfect.
There you go. Perfect. Yes, a hidden wallet is a great thing. And now that we're at this chapter, I will take a small drink, and we will get right into it if you don't mind.
Perfect. I would love to take a quick drink real quick.
That's disgusting. Okay. So hidden wallets provide incredible security, incredible complexity to hack, and also a bit of a risk to you if you don't manage these as you would your seed phrases, and geographically separately from your seed phrases. So you've got the seed phrases, which is your 24 words. Mm-hmm. You got your passphrase, which is a 25th kind of word that you create yourself. And it can be 50 to 100 characters long. And it doesn't appear on any lists. And it never is stored in any memory whatsoever. No local memory at all. It only exists in the real world. And you either type it into your keyboard, which I will allow in certain cases, or you enter it directly into your hardware wallet. In the case of survivorship, I would recommend that would be the method that you explain to your loved ones to do for maximum security. So what does this mean? It means that you can provide this video to allow. That's right. You are correct, sir. I do have a treasure map in the baldness. Someone will have to scalp me to get it later on. But anyway, the point is that a passphrase creates what we call a hidden wallet. It creates a footnote on the private key, and it makes a whole new set, an infinite set of brand new public addresses. Mm-hmm. That if the seed is present but the passphrase is not, you can never get into those wallets ever.
Wow.
If you mistype it or misback it up, you will be granted. It's always a positive. So if you mistype it in, but you match it twice in 2 fields, you will be granted access to a hidden wallet, but it will not be the hidden wallet that you wanted.
Crazy. It's
kind of like a Harry Potter type of scenario where you just can't pronounce the spell exactly right and you don't get the right outcome.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But something does happen, right? You're like, mystical, magical me. And then all of a sudden, the prince turns into a goat. You're like, I meant frog. It's going to be like that type of situation. And no matter how hard you try, if you don't get it right, you'll never get into that wallet again. So what I'm saying about survivorship is you can withhold that passphrase, and each family member can be given their own independent, unique passphrase, even though it's all under one seed root. And they can get different wallets that are hidden, that are separated and siloed for each family member, and they're very secure, and it's still under the same seed phrase that they all can share together.
Wow.
So that's both secure, it's not too complex for them, and, it's easy to provide for survivorship. You say, hey, Lenny, you're my favorite grandnephew. Your secret passphrase will be located here. Or maybe that is the type of thing that you could trust both in two places. One, with their parents, if they're too young to deal with it. Or two, maybe you may just hide it somewhere in their house or on their property or in your property and give them a map. Or, maybe three, that is something you could trust with an attorney. Because even if the attorney makes off with it, right? And by the way, retaining attorneys for your lifetime is very expensive. So please remember that as well. You say, I want you to read my will and testament. Yes, I will be the person that takes care of that. Sure. I'll just do the calculations. Yeah. 15 grand, please. So it's not without its expense and it's not without its risk. But if you give them only a piece of the puzzle, it's better to do it that way. But there should also be a simultaneous backup in the real world, so Lenny can get his dirty lucre that you're giving over to him in one of two different fashions. Did I cover that, or did I make it so convoluted that it's just impossible to follow?
Listen, the future access wallet again. I think you actually said it. Sorry, I read it quickly. Was trying to pay attention to you and what you were saying there. So I think you did touch on that actually. So I don't think we need to go over that.
This one, or did okay? So it says you're saying that you make a mistake, you never in the future access your wallet address. Yes, okay. Your wallet address needs now. When you do a hidden wallet, it requires two components. One is the seed to be present, let's say, on your hardware wallet, and two is the passphrase that is not protected nor stored on the hardware wallet, but you must enter in either manually or into the hardware wallet through an encrypted method each time you want to access the hidden wallet. If you do not enter the seed, if you do not enter the passphrase in with the connection process, which already has the seed protected, then you will not ever, 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 ever have access to that wallet again.
Wow, it's just gonzo. You're just done.
And people call me up. They call me, they cry on my shoulder, and they say, but I used a password for my passphrase that I always use, and it's just not working. I don't understand why my Ethereum addresses aren't matching. They matched when I tried it out the first time, but they're not working anymore. All right, so tell me about your keyboard. Does it have a tendency to stick? Well, yeah, the T sometimes doubles and I have to delete it, but I was meaning to get a new keyboard. Okay, well, I try that first, and if not, write down every combination that you can in your brain versus exactly what you think happened. Consider a sticky, caps lock, or a shift key hit, or a wrong space that you put in by accident, because this is on you now. There's no support. There's no recovery. There's no, I forgot my password. Send me an email to recover. There's none of that shit. You're your own bank, but now you're your own Fort Knox. So you better damn well know that your passphrase is written down absolutely 100% accurately. Because if it isn't, that's on you.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying 100% accountability is the name of the game.
110.
110%.
If it's passphrase, 110%. If it's just your seed, 100%.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I think there's one question here I was seeing that we wanted to go back on. I didn't want to skip.
Sure. I'm sorry. I've rambled so much. I only speak for an hour at a time.
No, this is perfect. Honestly, it's great. I just want to make sure that good questions aren't getting completely skipped, because this is a good one, I think, here too.
Yep.
If hardware wallet has Ethereum pub private key pairs connected to MetaMask, could use the same address for PulseChain. Could you use the same? Yes.
Of course you can.
Right.
You know why, right? And not look. This is a question, Jake, that is answered in two parts. The answer is, first of all, yes. The second part is, you should be doing this now on the test net to prove that I am correct. Because what you'll notice is that the public address for your Ethereum wallet will be matching the testnet public address as well. When you port over and you put in your custom RPC in MetaMask and you get on PulseChain testnet v2b, you'll see that the the public address is the same as the Ethereum address. So this would assume that you've got the same wallet effectively, but now you're putting on a different pair of spectacles to see a different dimension, which is a different blockchain. Because a fork of Ethereum carries with it the same naming convention. Take a look at Binance Smart Chain as well. Same thing.
Right. That's perfect. Okay, let's just catch up here. And guys, we're almost an hour in. If you're enjoying this content, which I know you are by now, because Papa B has been just laying down some truth bombs on us, please like the video. Share this out to get more people in here so more people can go back and watch from the beginning and learn everything we've gone over, because this is so critical. So if you're watching as well, thank you so much. And there's a big red button off to the right of the like button. Smash that for more content like this. But let's keep going here, because there's a couple questions that I had that I saw earlier in the stream, Papa, about VPNs and that side of the world. So how much security can something like a VPN provide? Is it negligible? Is it a big difference? Use cases? What are your thoughts?
Okay. So you remember when I told you my whole spiel about my whole history, that I mentioned that I was in the lawful intercept space, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how flimsy that whole idea of lawful is. Okay. And that's only on the right side of the law. We're not talking about bad actors actually trying to, coerce or commandeer streams of data that you're putting forward to a third party. In the truest sense, in the most purest sense of the word, VPN, you effectively are making a contract. And read the fine print. Read that EULA on VPN providers, because not all of them have all of their servers in friendly countries to your jurisdiction. Sometimes you'll have one that sneaks in a little bit of fine print that says, yeah, your data may go to mainland China, or may go through Russia, or may go through places, well, we don't really even know. We may route through whatever to kind of obscure it. The point of the matter is that VPNs lull you into a false sense of security, and I'll explain to you why. They're good for certain things, and those certain things are obscuring your IP address so that you can do things that are convenient for you that you are not allowed to because of silly rules in your jurisdiction. Namely, streaming videos, shopping for, whatever nasty devices that you want yourself and your loved one. Maybe it's that sex swing that you can't get and they only sell it in a different jurisdiction. You have to get it. Your wife is saying, you must get that one with the frilly, things on it. You have to do that, then use a VPN. You don't want anybody to know that you bought that sex swing? Use a VPN. You want to do gaming and you want to get to whatever and talk to your friends in Russia to be able to game with them? Use a freaking VPN. Do your crypto type stuff. Don't use a VPN, because remember when I talked to you about the man in the middle attack of actually creating a different SSID and then collecting all the data as it streams through you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're effectively paying a company to be the man in the middle attack. They have the decryption capability to take that stream and do what they call tap it out to anyone that gives them a subpoena to collect your information. Or as long as that tap is available, the bad actors or inside people can actually, from time to time, check the system and sample the tap and collect your information and decrypt it as they wish.
Damn.
And if that happens to be at a time when you are doing something, and communicating with somebody that you are you're talking crypto, you don't want to dox yourself, or if you're conducting some kind of transaction peer-to-peer, you may not want to be using your VPN in that respect. But there are ways around this. And they are at the endpoints. I think the most important thing would be the endpoint security. We've covered the use of hardware wallets and keeping your seeds encrypted, and that one-way stream to get to the blockchain to claim your tokens or to sign transactions. That's the most important thing. But then going back to how you have your home system set up and the PC that probably does not have, it's not a multi-use PC. Maybe you dedicate a machine in lower spec, cheaper machine. It's fine, but you have it dedicated for your crypto stuff because this is a very serious game. And you don't use your Wi-Fi in your home. You actually plug it right into your router. Maybe you use a mesh router instead of a standard router in your home because mesh routers carry with them a better sense of security, more security features, more up-to-date security features for people that may roll up and down your street trying to capture passwords and things. That happens as well. So this is the way that you should conduct yourself. VPN is not the end-all be-all, nor is virus type of stuff. All those same providers share the same database. They just package it with a different front end. So it's all shared database. They're equally bad, and none of them capture zero-day attacks efficiently. So again, antivirus, VPNs, they're kind of like wrapping things with crepe paper. They're not going to stop a bullet.
That's crazy because they're marketed as so. I mean, from my experience, I shouldn't say too definitively, but in my experience, it seems like they're marketed in the opposite way a lot of the time. You know?
But what do they claim? And watch their marketing. What is it? I mean, I've seen like Super Bowl ads for VPNs or whatever in the past, and it's usually a gamer going, "Yeah, the throughput is awesome, and I can do this safely." Right?
Yep.
Okay. What did I say? That's a use case, and that's fine. That guy's not like, I'm conducting my security, my financial stuff, and I 100% guarantee that this is a secured, encrypted channel that no one will ever exploit. They don't say that.
Yep, that's true.
And remember, the VPN company does not retain liability for your financial losses because you were somehow decrypted at the source.
Right.
They don't. Read the EULA. Read that agreement. It says that they shed that liability. Liability is limited to XYZ, and none of it has anything that it gets them off the hook in case you get nabbed that way.
It's completely rinsed.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate, but I mean that's very good to know. I honestly would have had no idea the VPNs were. I mean, I guess it does, what you're saying does make a lot of sense, and I never really looked into it. But the VPN does seem like, at first glance, that it's going to do a lot. So knowing this and hearing you say that, I hope everyone in the chat is really is understanding what Papa just said, because I know for me, I've been thinking about the VPN, and I've seen even in the community, there's certain VPNs that are popping up, and just to hear that, it's like, okay, well, maybe this needs a second or third look and actually understand it a lot better.
Look, a VPN, right? When we talk about this type of thing, imagine that you're going diving for gems or sunken treasure, and you jump off the boat and you've got one of those old timey like hoses that goes up to the top of the deck and somebody's pumping air, right?
Right.
That's your VPN provider, right? He steps on the hose.
Such a good analogy.
Or he pops it off and says, hey, let's pop this into something else, and somebody else can put something else down there, or watch the air as it comes in and gauge it themselves and then do something bad with it. That's what you got going. Ryan gave £1.79.
Thank you, Ryan.
That is 4 pence more than £1.75, and I think that's a very generous thing. Ryan.
That is also the first. Now, okay.
Is that the first super chat you've ever gotten?
No, I was gonna say that's the first. This is the British pound, is it not? No, this is the.
That's a pound. That's a British pound.
Right? The first British pound super chat I've ever had. So Ryan, thank you.
For the you got to frame that. You got to get the actual pounds. You got to frame it and put it on your wall. That's your first British pound.
I am
super
gonna
chat.
Command Shift for this, and I am gonna blow this up on a poster, and that's going right here.
Sweet.
And we also got one from Craig earlier as well. Craig, I don't think it let me. Oh, I think it's right here. I had to make sure this got through. So, I'll be honest. I got 2 treasures in after a week. Finally set them up after watching your live stream with Crypto Gym Rat after he got rinsed. That was a great stream to watch. Actually, I checked that out too, and that opened my eyes quite rapidly to the dangers of being not careless, but not understanding what the weight of the words that are your seed words actually hold. So let's keep going here.
That's a great thing. I'm very happy that you some good came out of that. It seems like a lot of people turned on to that stream, and it did a lot of good. So that's nice.
It's unfortunate that people have to get rinsed or have an event like that for other people to learn. But
Bob Leguy has a great thing that, yes, the VPN provider farts in your air tube. Exactly. They may not, but what's a good fart in an air tube?
This is actually a good question from Monica as well. So what's the alternative to VPN, or is there an alternative, period?
There's no alternative necessary. Keeping your OS up to date and making sure that your allowances... let's take it a step further. What's the real vulnerability that you're trying to protect? Ask yourself that. It's like, I need a VPN. What's the real vulnerability that you're trying to protect? And what's the most critical vulnerability that people fall prey to on a daily basis? Those two questions should be asked before we answer what would be the alternative of VPN. I mean, I could say that the most secure way to deal with your seeds would be to go full on cold storage, etch them into a big boulder in your backyard, turn the boulder over, and go and live your life until your 15-year stakes are up. That's
right.
That's a fine way to do things, right? I mean, do like the Curse of Oak Island style, put it into different things and bury it, hundreds of feet down in Nova Scotia or something. The point is that you simply have to, use the right tools the right way. Mm-hmm. And obscuring your IP address is not the vulnerability that you should be concentrating on per se.
Right.
Yes, if you are a bad guy and you want to do some bad stuff, it's possible to peg your actual IP address with the signature on, let's say, a Bitcoin transaction. And then they can knock on your door and say, excuse me, we know you're a bad guy. This is your IP. That's your transaction. Come with us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not what you're protecting yourself against. You're protecting yourself from bad guys trying to look in. And for that, hardware wallet. Wallet. They can look in all they want. It's all public access. It's all on the blockchain. Blockchain is an immutable contract that's free for all to view. You can look in everybody's wallet if you know who they are. They dox themselves. You got their insight into their wallet, and you can look and you can say, "Oh, they're a shark in Hex. I need to steal all their stuff." But you can never ever sign the transaction.
Right.
You can even get into their PC. You can do a targeted attack, and you can get in their PC in their home. And you can get remote access because they're stupid enough to click a link that you send out. You can get their seed store from their MetaMask. You can have it already. You can load it into your own MetaMask on your PC. And you can go in and you can find nothing. Why? Because they've got a damn hardware wallet. Mm-hmm. It requires having the hardware wallet physically in your possession to be able to rinse them. But, caveat. I didn't say what the vulnerability of the hardware wallet is as well, and why you got to be smart in the way you even use hardware wallets. It is a known vulnerability, an accepted vulnerability, that this thing does not leave your control, does not leave your house. Put it back in your hiding place as soon as you're done with it, just like you would your backup phrases. You don't walk around with your seeds, on your person unless you're relocating and you need to take something in an airport.
Of course.
That's the only way that you would do it. Otherwise, nothing leaves your house. Why? Because it is possible through a reverse engineering attack to extract the seeds off of the top manufacturers of hardware wallets. Even the latest Ledger Nano S Plus is probably, I haven't confirmed it yet, susceptible to a reverse engineering attack simply because of the nature of the chipset. You can just take out the chip, put it into a chipset reader, and be able to run a short script. In about 20 minutes, you've got the seeds. Wow. So you don't let these things fall into the hands of the attacker, period. But you won't, because you're not going to be that foolish as to take it around thinking it's a keychain.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, the question was VPNs, and then the question is what's the alternative for VPNs?
Yes.
And I say not necessary. Instead, look to your endpoint security, which is probably your OS being up to date, all your security patches, all and your updates and your firmware for your hardware devices, your hardware wallets, always up to date. Whenever you get a message, do not postpone it. Do not remind me later. Stop what you're going to do and get those updates done. Number 2, if you can avoid it for your dedicated PC that you're using for crypto. And by the way, that's another great thing you can do is a dedicated PC.
Which I'd love to talk about. Yes.
Yeah, sure. We can talk about that next. But I would actually use a wired connection to your router. I wouldn't let anything go through the waves. I would disable Bluetooth. I would only use the keyboard, and I would do a wired connection directly into your router. Just a little bit of nice, finishing touches on how to do things. And by the way, before we get into the selection of the PC, I will say that I've recently gotten very laughable criticism on Twitter. Somebody says, PapahBoehner's giving outdated security advice, and he doesn't know what the newest and greatest stuff is. I mean, come on, PapahBoehner, did you fall off a dinosaur? Laugh out loud, huh? So, I gotta say this: PGP has never been hacked. It's never been cracked. PGP is pretty good protection algorithm that's created by a gentleman. I had Phil Zimmerman created PGP, and he created it back in like the 90s, and it hasn't been cracked, and it's still the gold standard. And you actually use it when you're using a derivation of it when you use Telegram, and I believe even WhatsApp was using something that he actually helped them to get in terms of encrypting their communication. And this shit has not been cracked. Several algorithms have not been cracked in 10s, 20s years. So I'm telling you now that sometimes if it's working, you don't fuck with it. That's what I'm saying, right? And look, if somebody comes to you with a gimmicky type of hardware wallet, and I'm telling you, stick with the classics, Ledger and Trezor. If somebody says to you there's a gimmicky backup system, or there's a gimmicky hardware wallet, we're a startup. We just came out with our alpha product. It's running off the presses now, and it's got this really cool gimmicky way of creating a barcode, and then you take a picture of it, and you just put our simple thin client on your phone and all this other shit. Let it, I'm looking forward to the day. Don't get me wrong, I am looking forward to the day when we have something better than hardware wallets. We have something amazing and secure and convenient and doesn't have all these workarounds, and I don't have to onboard painstakingly by telling somebody, you gotta order this shit and it comes from Czech Republic, and then you gotta make sure that it gets there, and the chain of custody must be unbroken between you and the manufacturer, and this is the way you do it, and you get a backup and you do all this shit. These barriers to entry are crap, and if we had something secure, maybe Richard Hart will make the next best thing, and maybe it'll be a soft wallet that has amazing features that is incredibly secure and easy to use. That day, I look forward to it, and I'm keep my eye peeled, always looking for that. But these gimmicky hardware wallets that come out of China or other crazy places because they got a shoestring budget and they just funded their company and they haven't withstood the test of time. All these places you got to just frankly, you must not fall for. Collect hardware wallets is fine. Trust all of your assets on them is folly.
Right.
Unless the company has, number one, the pedigree, number two, has withstood the test of time, and number three, and this is the most important thing about trusting a company when it comes to security, something to lose. If I'm a startup and I just got my first round of seed funding from venture capitalists, or even my first true round of funding, my liability ends with other people's money. But when I grow a multi-$100 million turnover company and its valuation is in the billions, then if I screw over somebody from something that I am directly responsible for, I lose everything. Everyone throws their Trezors or Ledgers out the window and says, I'm going to whatever it takes to get away from these guys. I'm porting my seeds over to something else. I'll put it, I'll write it on the wall in blood if I have to. I will not use that again. And then you lose your business. And nobody ever trusts you again. I mean, look at what happened to Ledger when they released the customer data from their database, right? Just the mailing list. Has nothing to do with their product. But to this day, people say, wasn't there a Ledger hack? No, there wasn't a Ledger hack. There was not a ledger hack, right? It was a release of the database into the wild by an idiot. And yes, that constitutes a breach, but it doesn't constitute a breach of their actual product. And to this date, they're still solid. However, if that were a true breach of the product and the product were found to fail in some way, and the first person that uses it correctly loses funds, it's all over for them. So think of that when you select a hardware manufacturer. It should be Trezor or Ledger, quite frankly. Those are the only games in town. You mentioned in the green room, what do we do if you put a gun to my head and you say, Papa, I want to or I have to use mobile for my crypto? What do you recommend? Uh-oh, what's this? Oh. Yeah, we got a super... Is it my troll that followed me over here? That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got a nice little timeout for him there. See if he chills out.
Yeah. No, he'll be back, so you might as well just put a stop to him.
Right.
I mute him every day.
All right, well,
So-
I've already put him in a timeout, so I'll wait for him to come back. If he comes back, you know what?
He'll come back.
Thank you for the $5 or £5. Appreciate that, but
4.5 pounds.
4.5 pounds, and you're out of here. Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Oh, and there's Alain Fizame, who's a regular guy from a Wake Up Hex show. He's a good guy. He's not a troll, or maybe he is.
No,
But
Alan's
he's
great,
he's a nice troll.
He's great. He's always in the chats here, and he's always
Excellent.
In the comments, so he's
Very good guy. I love Alan. So Alan. So anyway, where was I? So
speaking about, oh man,
it's okay.
I got sidetracked with that.
It's not important anyway.
It's
okay.
Exactly.
Hey, what was we talking about? Security? Nah, it's nothing.
We don't. I think it's a perfect segue though, because this has been so valuable for me, and I know everyone in the chat. I know because I can see the comments. There's so
laptops.
much.
Sorry.
Oh, it was laptops. Okay, let's touch on this, and then and then we can go to the next thing I wanted to bring up there.
Right on. So laptops. Here are the specs that you could shoot for. None of this is financial advice. It's all preventative insurance type of advice. Okay?
Right.
And I don't have anything to lose if you get rinsed. However, my track record is pretty good. So take that with a grain of salt. And always, as I said at the beginning of this entire segment, use a second data point. A second guy who talks about security in the chat or in our community or Richard Hart himself. I don't care. Do your own due diligence. Take mine as the first step in your process to getting a good security posture, please. Mm-hmm. So laptops. I have a sales background in security, and I'll tell you that I've had contract manufacturing done in those companies in China. Okay? Inside and outside of China. Back in the day, you couldn't avoid it at all. It would be absolutely impossible. So what is the actual policy in mainland China when it comes to encryption? And what has encryption in it? Well, the answer is any hardware wallet has encryption, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any laptop would also have similar encryption when it comes to an OS by design, has encrypted things when it comes to an actual partition in a hard drive for recovery, or many other different facets of encryption are incorporated into your laptop, which is good, right? Your login, your password, all these things are all minor little things that have encryption in the back end. Well, guess what? If products are manufactured, hardware is manufactured in China, and firmware and or software is loaded in at the source within Chinese borders, guess what? The Chinese military and the Chinese state, right? The government must be given, just documented down to the smallest degree, the method of encryption, and included in the document that you submit to them must be the method of decryption.
Wow.
It's just the policy of China, and this is well documented. It's not me talking out of my hat. I'm telling you right now, it is the way that the policy has been structured since probably there were computers in China. All right? Since the Great Firewall of China went up, you can bet your bottom dollar that everything that comes out of China that's got Chinese parts Forget the risk of reverse engineering and certain little bits on the motherboard that can actually provide a data stream to phone home, which has been detected in many times in servers and PCs. So please be conscious of that. The motherboard, the daughter card, the GPU, the memory, and the hard drives all have the ability to capture data and phone home. So please do not source your crypto laptop from a Chinese-based manufacturer. Not because they're particularly bad people, but because the Chinese state demands that they comply with the regulations and rules of a communist state.
Yeah, wow.
That's it. So the manufacturers that manufacture in China, be they Lenovo or others, Lenovo's the contract manufacturer for IBM, and back in the days of IBM when they were overseeing everything, they didn't put the firmware or the software together with the actual, devices inside of Chinese borders. Now Lenovo does, so please be conscious of that. Acer used to manufacture all their stuff outside of China. Now they have maybe some motherboards that are done there, and so they can't be trusted anymore. The Taiwanese manufacturer of Asus is very good because it's not China yet. And you can trust Asus because they really want things to fly in their democratic state. They don't want any bad publicity for any exploits that would have anything at their, within their control. So Asus is very good. Toshiba, Japanese company. Let's see.
What about Apple?
Apple's fine. Again,
Apple's
Apple has components that are sourced from China, but again, Apple has, what did I say about a security company?
Right.
Something to lose.
Something
to lose. Right, yeah. Apple has a brand that they watch their manufacturing like a hawk, right? They've got all their supply lines. Most of the stuff is now put together outside of China anyway, but there are certain components that like I think they use like injection molding in China, which is not your concern at all. And other components in the casing and the work of the aluminum and all the other stuff, China, however, again, not your problem. And when it comes to phones and soldered together equipment that you have no access to the actual goodies inside, they use like Vietnam nowadays and things like that. So keep it in mind that Apple, Asus, HP is good, and I think I mentioned Toshiba. These guys would rather die than have an exploit that points to their company at the hand of the Chinese contract manufacturers. They would have tremendous, brand damage. So those are good ones to go. Yeah, and go for low end. By the way, you don't need a high end laptop with a discrete GPU to do your crypto. Mm-hmm. What you should do is aim for maybe around 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. Maybe an i5 or a Ryzen 5 chip, and that's about it, and a full-fledged device. Don't go for anything that has book at the end of it, no Chromebooks or webbooks or any crap like that. Please don't go for something super lightweight. Again, you're not going to be mobile with this anyway. Don't do this outside of your house, but make sure that maybe the form factor is such that you can hide it in your fire safe. That would be a good thing to do. Like a 14-inch laptop would be just great.
That makes a lot of sense actually. The 14, something small enough where it's not too big, something you can put it somewhere safe. I like that. I like that a lot. Man. That's pretty. Yeah. That's quite awesome. I think I'm really curious when it comes to. So I should say I want to segue here because what you just said is amazing. But I see the time that we're getting now, and I kind of want to bring us to I think what maybe a lot of people are really curious. I don't know if I've actually heard from you before. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on? So this whole ecosystem is about to come alive. We have PulseX and PulseChain. What are your thoughts on how they're all like? How do you see things playing out in for PulseX versus PulseChain in let's say a 5-year span? And what are which one do you have a favorite? Do you have an opinion on which one you prefer? Which one you think people should look at more for short term versus long term? What are your thoughts? And I know this is kind of a loaded question because it's not about short term, long term, but
no. Okay, so look, I think, and now we get into the segment where I am not giving financial advice, right?
Right.
I'm not giving financial advice. I'm telling you my gut instincts based on strict speculation, and I'm not qualified to give anybody's financial advice, and I don't. So that being said, you're asking me, okay, if I told you cryptographics, congratulations, you're a dad. You got a daughter and a son. Which one do you like better?
You can't.
Oh, and they're only they're 5 and 6 years old now too. So you don't know what the hell they're getting. One may be an axe murdering maniac, and the other may be a freaking, Beta Kappa Chi scholar. You don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe it's not the one that you bet on. However, when you look at your daughter and you say, I know you're going to be an axe murderer someday, but I want you to be the best axe murderer you can be. No, I'm not.
I know.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is these gifts that are given to you, the people that have your eyes open in this community, these gifts that Richard Hart has created from the sweat of his labor, as he says, right, are both going to be tremendously unique and successful in their own right. I believe in Richard because think about this. It was cute back in the day to doubt Richard when Hex was just about to launch and we had to wait 4 more weeks for a year. That was cute. That was like a running gag. We were just forming as a proto community. And we didn't know that Hex would perform like he foretold it was capable of. Not that it would. He never made the commitment to saying that this would do anything. But when it did, you said, holy crap, this is truly what real crypto, a real decentralized, real good finished product with no admin keys can really function like. All the naysayers always said, what's the value? What is it doing? What thing is it satisfying? PulseChain has an actual use case out of the gate. And I was struggling at first to understand what PulseX's use case was out of the gate, but it just got one too. And now it's like, oh my gosh, it offsets all of the selling pressure off to other tokens. That alone, you should say, if a token were able to do that on an actual main exchange on a brand new blockchain, decentralized, wouldn't that be enough to like make you incredibly excited about it? And that's only one of like the 10 possible facets that could lead to life-changing wealth. So every time I think about which child I like more, I can't decide, right? And so I decide that the best strategy is to get both equally, and whatever equal means in your heart, that should be the way you weigh each bags. If you think that PulseX will trade on a ratio of 3-to-1 with Pulse, well, then I would recommend, in a non-technical and non-financial way, that you weigh that in your figuring out of what you would want to sacrifice or what you would want to bring over the bridge in terms of value to go and get yourself a bag of that size versus the other, because you should balance them out. That's your best bet, I think. Bet on both, right?
I couldn't agree more. I think that's the way to do it.
I'm sorry, it's a wishy-washy answer. It's a wishy-washy answer.
I think that's honestly, when it comes down to it, that's the real only answer you can ever give in a lot of these conversations is a wishy-washy answer if you want to be closer to the truth, It's like, you don't really know, and you can't know, and it's impossible, and any speculation is always wrong no matter what, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, but both of them make me want to change my pants because honestly, honestly, the birth of a fork of Ethereum with low gas costs. Yesterday we hit 3,000 freaking Gwei for a freaking transaction, a simple send. Someone screenshotted it. It was like 3,000 Gwei. I'm like, well, that's something. Look at that. It's a broken freaking chain. Look at that.
Know.
So I'm worried about look, I have a stockpile of gas money in that crippled asset. Just for my Hex stakes. You have to, right? It's kind of like that inflation is going on. That's proof positive. And let's say Ethereum 2.0 comes out. It's not going to solve the gas problem. Nobody seems to understand that in the Ethereum communities. It's not going to solve the gas problem. Sharding will solve the gas problem. Vitalik himself says sharding is years away. Not just a few years, 6 to 10 years away.
And how recent were those comments?
Well, when he mentioned the whole thing that we made hay about, when he said, well, I could see it happening in 6 years. Yeah, I could see that. Remember when he said that, 4 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we all went crazy. We're like, oh, hey, we got time.
Yeah.
Actually, what he was referring to was the completion of the migration to 2.0, his vision of 2.0. It's not that they're not going to release 2.0 in July and they're going to make that deadline. Let's say they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's to get away from the miners. And as Jesse the pit boss said on the voice chat, that's good, but it doesn't solve the gas fees. And there's great people in the voice chat that I learn from all the time. Jesse the pit boss, Gamma, Walrus, and they all come to the same conclusion, is that technically they may improve by ditching the miners, and that's great for the environment. They may go to proof of stake. However, that doesn't solve anything for the guy or girl trying to, do their NFTs or transact, simple transactions. It's not going to happen. So we've got a huge opportunity. That's why Pulse now becomes my favorite child of the moment, right? When I think about that, I'm like, oh, you're the cutest. You're going to make daddy proud. You're going to go get that goal over there on the field and make me so happy. And then I look back at PulseX and I said, but you're going to do buyback and burn. And that's a smart thing. And everybody's got to transact on you because it makes more sense and it's cheap and it's quick and it's secure and it's, oh my God, there's liquidity pools and you can actually, I can mine you and do single-sided liquidity providing, and I can get some more benefit, and then I can take those third-party tokens and I can dump it on another community, and there's never any never any sell pressure. Now you're my favorite. So that's my full answer is I like them both. Man, no, I love them. I love them both. But my heart, as you can see here, is Hex, and I believe that the store of wealth, the true growth, and where all my gains will go will always be into Hex.
Yep. You know what? I agree with pretty much everything you just said. Not to be the guy that agrees with everything, but it's just so true. PulseChain is the birth of this ecosystem that's been needed, far surpassing ETH 2.0, what it's going to be capable of, and Hex though, and everything that comes with PulseChain is amazing. But Hex is the original. I mean, dare I say, PulseChain came out because of Hex, in a way, because with the birth of Hex came the issues that Hex users had, and then with those issues created the need for a new chain. And so really, we only have all of these new opportunities coming because of Hex. So Hex, in a way, it has a very special place in the ecosystem that is going to be hard for anything else to replace, really. And I mean, I'm very new to this, but I already see just how special it is and how it's going to be very hard for, even if everything does incredibly well, Hex is special in its own right. So I think you're absolutely spot on. I don't know if I have any specific more questions for you, to be honest. I would love, and for one, thank you for all of this knowledge. This has been incredible. Incredible.
Look, what I hate that people, maybe this is a statement I should be saying on a very serious note. I physically get ill when I get contacted from people 3 times a day that have been robbed. We are putting in so much effort over the last 2+ years. We as a community have put in so much effort for outreach and welcoming people in and onboarding and telling people, trust me, this is something special and it's changed my life and all this other crap. And for them to get rinsed and leave our community like that, on effectively the 11th hour before the birth of PulseChain, makes me freaking wretch. The fact that and those of you in the chat that think that Papa B is just this altruistic little dude that goes about with fairy dust and saying, oh, I'm here to save everybody. No, I'm a damn human like you are, and I'm in this to win this. And when attackers get plebs money, it dumps our price down. And I don't want to see my value decrease because people are robbed. So please, for the love of God, get yourself a hardware wallet. And if you've already sacrificed or staked your hex, you're married to that seed. You can't do anything about that if you got that on MetaMask. Get 2 wallets. And I guess we can put a link to my video in the comments below or somewhere.
Yes.
It's a 40-minute video. If you've got a Trezor, it's 40 minutes to describe exactly the ins and outs of that. And if you got a Ledger, I think it's like 30 minutes. So honestly, please, 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 for the love of God, get yourself a hardware wallet if you don't have one yet. We've had like one troll recently that came into the chat and said, I'm not convinced that the hardware wallet is the way to go. Well, continue not being convinced, but don't let that pollute the rest of everybody's thinking. Mm-hmm. There is nothing better today. Tomorrow, there may be. And we talked about that before. I hope to God there is. I'm looking forward to it. I want that to be displaced. I want something better, more secure, faster, cheaper, everything, you know.
Yep.
Something that you can inject into your brain. I don't care. Whatever it is, I'm game. I'm looking for it, and we want to share. And last point, maybe to put a cap on this one little spiel. Security is a team sport. Share information, drop your ego, and check yourself every step of the way. Have a wingman that is a security professional next to you. If you're going to start giving advice to somebody about security, make sure that you really come to terms with the fact that you're probably wrong somewhere, and have somebody else looking over your shoulder. Check with somebody. Admit that you don't know something. Don't just say, I know everything and here's how you do it, because again, the liability is not with you, and people think that when they're getting advice from you, that somehow if they get robbed because you give them bad advice, that they can go and find you and take you to court and say, you're the guy that did it, and you're going to make things right and give them all your money. It's not like that in this game, right? The liability should be with the manufacturer of the hardware goods that you buy with them, and the relationship with them must be unbroken. If you're taking advice from an idiot like me or anybody else, right, is saying that this is the way to do things and you don't have to check this for yourself, then that's a bit of a reckless type of thought process. You should always check in at least 2 data points, listen to 2 people, and make your own damn decision, and then contract directly with a manufacturer by buying something directly from their website. Again, don't get it from a third party. Don't get it from a reseller. Don't get it from a distributor. Don't get it from your friend. Don't get it from eBay. Don't get it from your mom giving it to you for a Christmas present. Order it yourself from the hardware manufacturer themselves, Trezor.io or Ledger.com. The last thing that we didn't cover was the possibility of using a Gnosis safe on your mobile. But if you don't know the ins and outs and the beauty that is the Gnosis safe or the Staker app, which is a Gnosis safe for the back end, then it's better off that you don't use anything on your mobile at all, because compatibility and up to date stuff and audits and something to lose for the companies, right? All those should weigh on your mind. But if you want to do something on your mobile, I would highly recommend looking into a Gnosis Safe proper or the Staker app, because that was built with a great front end with a Gnosis Safe as a back end. And Firebun and Steph do have a security background, right, from Google. They did their time there, and they have a good track record. At least 2 years that you've seen them in the market now, and there's not been an episode where somebody said, I use a Staker app and my money's gone. So now we're starting to season things into the market, and it looks good. But most importantly is that the back end of the Gnosis Safe is a lot older than that. And again, Vitalik Buterin uses a flavor of the Gnosis Safe for his wallet, all of his assets, one freaking wallet. Of course, his backups are encrypted in a very, very arcane way, but at the heart of what he's using to protect his money, it's Gnosis Safe. So please also keep that in mind.
Wow, I had no idea that it was Gnosis Safe that he was using as well for that. That's actually really cool to know. Staker app's the real deal. I mean, I've seen nothing but good things about Staker app as far as everything that I've ever seen or heard. But to know that and to hear it's the same tech that's been tried and true for a while now. Other people are using it for their own on other platforms or other, what would you say? Basically, that's really reassuring, actually. That's really cool to hear. You
know what's really reassuring is the fact that that version 2 is going to offer with it, with the birth of PulseChain, a duplicate of the Gnosis Safe proper on the back end, which is a smart contract. So a smart contract on Ethereum chain will actually be duplicated, just like Richard Hart will be duplicating everything. So will that smart contract be duplicated. So you will have a siloed wallet offered to you, which you paid for already, and when you got your smart wallet, right? So the smart wallet will still be intact. You paid for it, and you get a free siloed second wallet that is only on PulseChain, and sewn together with a beautiful front end where you can toggle back and forth and see your assets on both chains. Mwah.
That's perfect. Wow.
Yep. But again, don't trust all of your assets on any one technology. Spread them out through many different wallets is also a good method of protecting yourself, because one day one gets hit, you're not jumping out the window. Maybe like 10% of your assets on 10 different wallets, different makes and manufacturers and methods. That would be great if you could, if you have enough, right? And if you're spending $10 per wallet now, and you're spending $70 per discrete wallet, that may not be cost effective. But I'll also tell you, just in one quick blurb, how you can make use of one single hardware wallet as both your migratory wallet and your vault at the same time.
Please do,
and,
yeah.
Well, this is only for somebody, again, gun to my head. They say, I only have $70 to my name and I put everything else into crypto and I really can't get a second hardware wallet. Okay, all right, settle down. What you can do is you can get yourself a Trezor One or a Ledger NOS if you can only afford one device. And what you can do is you can generate a 24-word seed. You can copy paste the public address that you generate as well onto your desktop or onto something like a thumb drive or wherever you just keep it. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% secure because it's a public address, doesn't matter. But your seeds, you write those down and etch those into titanium and you keep those solid. Then you can factory wipe that device, right? You can then do your migration to that device. And when it comes time for matured assets to be sent to the vault, which is now in cold storage, you've got a cold storage virtual vault wallet, you can just send to the public address and make sure that it gets there by querying Etherscan and putting in your public address in Etherscan, making sure that it gets there safely. Now, when it comes time to actually interact with the vault wallet, let's say you want to restake, or you want to delegate your tokens, or you want to check on your long-term holds, or sell a little bit, take profits. Then you go back into the same hardware wallet, you factory wipe it again. You do a advanced recovery of your 24-word seed phrase this time into the wallet. You make sure that it's valid, and then you can go about your business, and then you can factory wipe it again and reintroduce your 12-word seed phrase. You only have to do this until your 12-word seed phrase migratory wallet is of no use anymore. It's carrying no more assets. When it has no more value to you, you can wipe it off and keep the 24 on there permanently. And then you only have to go and reintroduce the 12-word seed phrase migration wallet when and if there is a specific vetted and legitimate airdrop. And then you can put that back in there, collect your airdrop, send it over to the vault wallet, and then do the do-si-do again. However, if you're only having one hardware wallet, the only problem you run into is, what about catastrophic failure? If the hardware wallet fails and you have to count on that happening, you don't have another hardware wallet to play around with, you'll just have to wait while you get another one in the mail. And that's going to be excruciating. Can you imagine that? You're like, I've got all this money. If you have all these assets enough to be doing this and you don't have a second hardware wallet by that time, you freaking don't have your priorities straight. But let's say you do that and then your hardware wallet fails. You're like, I can't transact until I get my next one in, and they're all sold out, or there's some kind of problem getting them. The supply chain's no good, and I gotta wait a week, and you're gonna be tearing your hair out. Yes, no good.
That sounds horrible. I don't even want to think about that, honestly. Oh god.
Well, that's why you got an extra one though, don't you?
Yes.
So, cryptographics, which hardware wallet do you use?
I have the Ledger S. I have the Ledger S. I have gotten gave actually some presents to some people I know at some point. I made sure that when I gave them a little bit, that I made sure that they got the wallets as well. So I'm trying to make that the standard for as many people as I can as well. And I mean, I could always do better. I have so much to learn. I'm literally going to have to go back and rewatch some of the things that happened in this stream so I could just totally tighten up the ship and make sure all things are there. But I've started. And
did you sacrifice from that hardware wallet, by the way?
I did not, because I got it later. I was just I know.
So you need your second wallet then, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Get your second one, do your migration. Again, the video down in the comments below. And thank you for admitting that. Now I can actually rinse you when you don't expect it.
Please.
But anyway,
yes.
down at the bottom, the comments, I'm sure we're going to put up the video link so that people can watch the video in terms of the why and the how of doing the migration and setting up the Vault wallet.
Yep.
Both essential things. And Cryptographics himself has borne his heart to everyone and admitted that he may have something to learn as well, which is the first step in security. You can only ever get a B in your rating. You can never get an A. Nobody gets an A for security. So you can endeavor to get the best B you can, right?
Yeah.
Because there's always something more you can do. There's always something more. I, for one, will be always upping my game through the next 15 years because I made certain assumptions and I made certain mistakes that I now would change my worldview and evolve to a certain point where I know I could do it even better. And every stake that comes out, I do it better. And that will continue for the rest of my life. And it should for you too. Unfortunately, it's the obligation. It's the price of your wealth is your eternal vigilance.
I couldn't have said that. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Somebody clip that. That was really good. I mean, thank you so much for being on here today, Papa. This has been, you've been incredible wealth of knowledge. And we don't want to cut off just if you got like 15 more minutes or so, I would love to open up the chat to comments or any kind of questions that people might have for you before we cap off the stream. But again, this has been so good. I hope everyone in the chat, if you are enjoying the video and you have not liked the video already and you have not followed PapahBoehner on Twitter, I have a link in the description for PapahBoehner's Twitter. Do you have any also other socials or anything where people can come to find you or
to find me? Oh well, okay.
Not physically.
But please don't find me. No, no, I'm always in the Telegram voice chat t.me PulseChain.com.
Right.
So it's Richard's voice chat. I'm an admin there. Some would say I'm a tyrant in there, but I'm both. So I can be your friendly tyrant and your terrible admin at the same time. So if you ever have a problem setting up a hardware wallet or you think you've been compromised, we get those type of people in there all day. That there's a wealth of knowledge in that chat as well. I really urge you all to come in and not just passively listen, but contribute, share your stories, share whatever information you want. I think we're greater as a hive mind. And that's where I think things really happen. Reaching out to people by voice. Some may be a little bit shy, but damn it, come on in and make yourself at home because you're more than welcome as community members. That's number one. Number two, Bobby Hexelrod has some. I like Bobby Hexelrod.
He's great.
Shall we answer this before I shill my other streams that I'm on sometimes?
Let's do that. Go all your socials first here.
All my socials first. So there's that. I mean, I'm a pain in the ass on Twitter. I don't really care about my followers on Twitter, but I recently got 3,000 followers. It's amazing.
Amazing.
I guess in some way that'll buy me a cup of coffee in my old age. I don't know what else to do with these followers. But they're all very great people, and I can keep track of everybody I like to follow back, and it seems like the Twitter is a good thing. That's number one. That's number two. And number 3 and 4 are I'm on Discourse Syndicate channel on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Mondays is Hex Asians. Come on and see a very slow-talking Indian man with 3 Asian guys and a couple of white guys in Asia. Oh, and we got Wales Only on there too, who I don't know what he has to do with Asia, but he shows up and he's great. And then we've got Wake Up Hex show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's on Discourse Syndicate Network on YouTube.
Amazing. Guys, please go and follow all the socials that he just mentioned, all the channels. I hope you guys have learned so much like I have from this. I mean, and I'm going to be completely honest here, a lot of the stuff that, like, the reason I said I have to go back and watch this is because a lot of the stuff is, when you know that feeling when you think you know something, just enough to almost be dangerous? I don't know if this is just saying at, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson. I heard him talk on a documentary. And there's a reason I haven't spoken about crypto security on this channel. And hearing you talk about crypto security is that perfect point of knowing that I don't know anything that I needed to hear about crypto security, you know? So thank you so much for coming on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. But honestly, when you think about it, is anything that I said truly news to you? Look into your heart. Have you heard it and just ignored it? Or is it truly news to you?
It's not news. It makes just so much sense. But it's just like,
making sense.
Yeah.
Hearing
of course.
Hearing it from a droning, like seemingly informed and confident voice sometimes is enough for people to pay attention.
Yep.
And that's generally the persona that I project when I'm on voice chat. If I don't treat you seemingly with respect, if you seem to get, taken aback and say, well, I didn't come into this chat to be berated by the likes of you, PapahBoehner. If that's your reaction, I apologize, but I'll always try to always try to qualify this. My methods are my methods. I don't apologize for them. And I'll tell you that they're effective. And if you think that I piss you off, think about how pissed off you are going to be when you get rinsed because you didn't remember the basics.
Mm-hmm.
And if you me, if you say, thanks for that insight, I'll look into it later, you will get the full fury of everything I have.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, you leave this chat right the hell now and you go make your purchase now and then you come into this chat. You don't come here and speculate about all the zeros you're going to have at the end of your bank account and do not have a hardware wallet in place. Mm-hmm. And you don't simply patronize me with I'll look into that. If you say that, you're bullshitting. So really take it seriously. I'm sorry. Bobby Hexelrod's comment, we got to get to that.
Right. Yes. I was leaving it up there. Okay. So
sorry, Bobby.
Yes. Someone thinks their SAC address is compromised. Is there a way to submit new SAC wallet address? Literally asking for a friend.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know why it's taking so long? And Richard said it himself. He said he's got certain things that are, development centric to work out. And then he's got calculations for SACs. And then he's got like the hundreds and thousands of people, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds and or thousands of people that have somehow been compromised, mixed in with a whole bunch of scammers and attackers that want to submit claims like they've been compromised and they want him to redirect their SACs to another wallet. Do you know how long it takes for Richard and his devs to go through the vetting process and qualify everyone as a true owner of the damn wallet all the way back to their on-ramp? It is freaking mind-bogglingly stupid to look out for everyone. And there's no crypto community anywhere that has so much heart and looks out for their community as much as this one. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, there's a limit to that too. Yep. So if you definitely got compromised and you know it, I give people this advice. And I apologize if this is not the correct one that Richard would like. But rather than bug the dev team, which should be the last thing you do, send a 3-sentence message to Richard directly and let him either get back to you or not. No expectations, right? Simply send him a 3-sentence direct message on Twitter or on Telegram. Make sure it's the correct Richard, of course. And the 3 sentences are, I'm very sorry to bother you, Richard. I understand that you are very busy and my issue should not impede on the progress of this launch. Number 2, I know for a fact that my seed has been compromised and that wallet has my SAC supposedly airdrop that I may or may not expect to happen to come to it. Number 3, if it's at all possible and I can verify you in some way that I am the owner and it can be done, that it can be transferred to a different address, please, oh please, tell me the process. Love and kisses, state your name. And that's it. Keep it quick. Do not go into this freaking, what I get is I get like 8-paragraph essays about, so I was like heading home and then I bought my hardware wallet, but I didn't use it. And then my friend Joey came over and I was smoking a bong load. Then his dog was like messing with me. If you do that to Richard, most definitely you will not get a response and you're going to piss off the community because you're holding up the freaking show. So please, 3 sentences, don't expect a response. If you get one, great. If not, start over again. Or, we're forgetting the obvious thing that I can now crow about. Are you ready for this? Howtopulse.com has an answer for you. Go make contact with those guys and see if you can't pay the fee and, give them, you have to sign, this is a contract signing type of thing. It's a lot of trust to do with these guys, but there is a fee involved, but they will find a way to handle the airdrop scenario for you. So please contact them. There is an answer. It's a gray hat approach. I like the guys over there. I know the guys over there. Contact those guys at howtopulse.com. They can actually work with you to safeguard your wallet that is compromised and make sure you get, I will say, whatever you're due minus their fee.
It is pretty amazing how this community is able to, is the only one, I mean, you just said it, but like I haven't been in crypto for more. I'm about a year. I've been in like actually actively learning and doing things in crypto, and I've dipped my toes even in a year in a lot of different places and kind of seen what's going on over here, over there, and I didn't even get the hint of what this community and what the people that are in this community and the founder do for people. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's actually mind-boggling. The more you look into it, the more you hear stories like what you just, I didn't even know about the How to Pulse, that you could contact them. I mean, it's just, the deeper you go, the better the community gets. We're just down to our roots. It seems that we have great people trying their best to make this work for everyone. So it's just absolutely amazing.
Truly. Very grateful to be part of this community. Like Richard says, I'm proud to be a Hexican. I'm proud to be a Pulsican, or are we really settling on that word? I guess we are.
I don't know if I
guess we are.
It is, but
whatever it is, I'm proud to be involved with all of you people here in this chat and throughout the community. It's a wonderful thing. This is a team sport, even though we're all going to kind of be, in our own lanes to be able to get our own wealth, and it'll all be about. And you asked me about the way I see it in 5 years. If you're smart enough and have the vision enough and the wherewithal to hold for 5 years, doesn't matter what you hold in this, man. If you hold any of these assets for 5 years and don't sell and make best use of them, you'll be a happy person. That's what I predict. In my non-financial method, I see you as more smiles will be yours.
I think, from everything that I have been thinking about and all the research and everything I've been doing, it seems like that's exactly what I expect too. So, I mean, five years, guys, you've heard it. If you're holding for 5 years, don't trade, don't do anything but sit in your butt and wait and try to make the smartest moves if you're going to make any moves possible. So,
and this Bob Lagai here, he's a good guy. He's a great Lagai.
He's a great Lagai.
No, really smart dude. He's provided a lot of insight on Twitter, and hey, you can't overlook that 555 super chat either. That's very, very nice.
I was just going to get to that. Yeah, Bob, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hosting, and thanks to PapahBoehner for the hours and hours helping users in voice chat. That I do want to touch on quickly. Yes, thank you, for coming on the stream, but thank you for what you've been doing for the last, I'm sure you couldn't even count the number of, I'm sure you actually probably could, but it's a lot of time that you've put in, that zero kickbacks. You're doing it because you're trying to give and trying to help, and you are so much of an asset to this community. So thank you on behalf of everyone and myself. Like, it's just to meet people like you and to meet people that are in the community is awesome. So thank you so much.
You're not the first person to say that I'm a valuable ass. Thank you very much for that. Those kind words. Yeah. Like I said, I come with my own trolls to every chat. You'll find people, equal number of the people that like what I put out, and people that can't stand the way that I put it out, or I don't know, the way I dress. I don't know. But whatever I do, again, I'm one cog in this machine. I'm only one member in this very, very strong community. I'm only one person that preaches good security practices. So you freaking better pay attention to all these people.
Yep.
And do it right, and you'll sleep so soundly knowing that you're going to be, in for the long haul in Richard Hart products and products and projects. Honestly, we are in the right place at the right time. You are at the inception of a blockchain is nigh. It is coming soon, so prepare. You have time to get your stuff, your security posture, to get it strong, so again you can sleep soundly.
Yes, absolutely. And guys, on that note, share this stream so that people who are newer in crypto or they don't have the security, people you want to get the information that was in this stream, get that to them. So please like and share this stream to as many people as you can. The more people understand how to take care of their own crypto security, the better off we all are in the long run in just so many different ways. So with that, PapahB, thank you so much for coming on the stream.
Thank you.
I can't tell you thank you enough. Chat, everyone that's been here, I think we got to about 170 viewers at one point here. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you all for being here. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Please like and subscribe. And that's all I've got, Papa. Did you have any other final words you'd like to say before we end the stream here?
I'm going to sleep.
You're going to sleep? Well, I hope you have a great sleep, and I'm sure we'll talk very soon again. Definitely love to stream at some point.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. All right, guys, that's all we've got. Peace out. Have a great night, and we will see you guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.